boom, ba ba yo, boom, bang, 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 boom, ba ba yo, boom. Walking down the sidewalk on windy city day, dodging to the left to miss out people in my way. And I say, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day, oh, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day, oh, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day. Walking up to people, fluff my feathers, walk away. I want them to see me, but they turn the other way. So I say bum bum bum, shh, Doshi day, oh bum bum bum, shh, Doshi day, bum bum bum, shh, Doshi day, oh bum bum bum, shh, Doshi day, bang boom. Ba ba yo, boom, bang, boom, ba ba yo, whoa. I love all you people in my life. You have your place. I want you to smile more, so I work every day, going bum bum bum, shh, Doshi day, oh bum bum bum, shh, Doshi day, bum bum bum, shh. Doshi day, oh, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day. I love all you people in my life, you have your place. I want you to smile more, so I work every day, going bum, 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 shh, Doshi day, oh, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day, bum, 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 shh. Doshi day, oh, bum, 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 shh, Doshi day.
All right, I am going to reintroduce the incredible musical geniuses, Crystal Beth and Alex Anthony Faide. Thank you so much, guys, for joining twice.
Yeah.
But this time, everyone can hear you and your music without Joe's garage and ship arriving too late to save the drum image.
Yeah.
All right, so that was such a cool track, and I want everyone to know that Beth's music is just so adventurous, and what I admire about her musical genius is that she's just unafraid. And there's very few artists that are unafraid, and what I mean by this is they've explored their body and their voice and what it means to be an artist and how to employ those things. And there are very few people in the world. I mean, it's easy to stand behind an instrument. It's easy to stand behind, shredding and that kind of thing. But Beth lives it out ferociously. And if you see her live in concert, you will see this. And you get a glimpse of it in her music. So Beth, this is really awesome. Tell us about Doshi Day, and then tell us about Episodic Memory, which is the new album which contains the track we just heard.
It's really sweet that you would describe me that way, because I am not fearless. I am so afraid all the time. And vulnerability, I think, is one of my superpowers. And so when I'm afraid, that is the indication to me to lean in to it and dig into my deepest self and let her out, let her be seen, let her connect with other people. So it's cool that you read it as fearless.
Well, honestly, to do what you do in front of an audience, it's not like getting up and singing a hymn from church. It's not like covering the Beatles or doing karaoke or even singing your own original. What you're doing is exploring new sound worlds and layering, and you're using your whole body to express yourself artistically. And I really admire that about what you do. So
Well, they're my hymns from my church, right?
yeah.
Of what it means to be human, and share that with other people and hope that other folks will share that with us. Like that's the entirety of being here on this planet, right? Crystal Beth, interestingly, is rather than like putting on a mask for me, is trying to take it off and be, crystal clear about who I am and where I am, which is always changing, and how to try to offer that to other people. And Doshi Day is the first Crystal Beth song I ever wrote. And I launched the project officially with the first public performance in 2010. But I wrote Doshi Day years before that, when I didn't know that I was a composer. I didn't know that I was a songwriter. And I was walking down the street and it just came in all as one entity. And it became the first Crystal Beth song. And I write predominantly in my own invented language, which I refer to as Bethnic. And Doshi Day is a Bethnic term that means dancing with your authentic self, because it is a dance. It's always changing and moving, and you just have to get into the flow with it. And so that's what Doshi Day is, and that's what the concept is. And it never appeared on a record, and it rarely appeared in performances, actually. So it was really special to get to put it on this record. Yeah.
Awesome.
Episodic memory, kind of everything asked for to be there. It was like not pre-thought out of what this record is going to be. It was a surprise record for us to make. It was not a plan.
And tell us about the title. What does episodic memory mean?
Episodic memory is it's the conscious recollection of a personal experience. So when you remember something and you remember the where, the what, the when, like you remember a birthday party when you were 3 years old or something like that, that's episodic memory. And all of these pieces are vignettes that are like a microscope into a very specific emotional experience. That's what they all have in common. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So Alex is an incredible guitarist. I know you know this, but I'm not sure the audience knows this. So for anyone watching this, please go check out Alex's YouTube channel. And he posts a lot on Facebook too. But he is, without a doubt, one of the top 0.5%, players in the world. And it's really cool to see you two collaborating on an official release. I know that you've performed live before, one of the times I saw you. So Alex, can you talk a little about your involvement with this project and your thoughts on this record?
Well, thanks. That's all very generous, Anthony.
It's true too.
I'm heavily flattered, and I appreciate a lot your work and your words. And in terms of this particular record, I agree. Kind of the record made itself as a result of what Beth just described. I personally have what Beth does speaks to me, and is the language of the heart. Like she may be singing in English or in Bethnic or on some other dialect, mm-hmm. and there is a fiber that it's like no filter, just hits me every time, and it's a trigger for a number of things. It's bold, and it's it's beautiful.
It is,
and it's just pure beauty. right? And then it's like every time I'm like, oh, whoa, you did that. It's like, oh, fuck. Sorry, pardon my French. That's like, whoa. And then I'm confronted like, oh, I kind of hear this and this and this and this happening, and I get all excited like a kid, you know? Like I feel like I'm 13. I'm just like, I just got a pedal and on my pedal board, just one, and I'm like, I'm gonna use it and get excited, fired up. And that's awesome. Like at 50, almost 51, after, I don't know, 40 years of pounding the guitar around the world, and still find myself as excited as a kid. I think that's a privilege, and that's beautiful. And Beth does that to me. You know.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, really, you know. And yes, you're right. Like, man, we kind of guitarists, we have the instrument and kind of like, I agree that we kind of like want to hide behind it, although hiding is impossible, you know. No hiding possible. And so in this case, the instrument is straight up the person, right? Like that's a clear and bold and direct lightning bolt every time performing, or when she goes to her room and records some stuff, and it's like, oh, what you think about it? That's gorgeous. I'm like, it's amazing. So yeah, I had a lot of fun.
It has to be said that all of these tracks, my parts were done live, no overdubs, and I gave these to Alex as these like solo voice with clarinet things, all in one compounded track. So everything that exists on the record is what he built around it. So I felt like I gave him all of these electrified skeletons, and he built a musculature that made them into these beautiful beasts that I think that's incredible that he did that. And I love this record. I think it sounds great.
All right, well, let's take a listen to the track Confusion. It's the 5th track, and I tried to select 3 songs that I thought would resonate with the audience and show quite a variety of your capabilities. So Confusion is pretty different from what we heard on Doshi Day, and let's check it out, and then we can hear from Beth and Alex about it after. Wow, that was intense. How did you, I mean, when you open this song, it's kind of like, what is this? You know, what is happening? And then the song kind of opens up like a Pandora's box or something. Like, how did you guys end up going in this artistic direction?
So what I'm hearing is that you felt the confusion of confusion.
For sure, yeah. That's why I wanted to play it.
Excellent. Okay, Episodic Memory as a whole record, to me, is kind of like turning a page. So you're completing one chapter and moving to the next chapter, but there's a moment where the page is vertical and you see what has come before and what is coming at you all at the same time. And this track is definitely one of the what is coming at you, in that we've been talking a lot about the music that we want to make going forward. Like, it has felt really important to leave past music in the past and start making new sounds that process this collective trauma that we have all been living through. You know, the pandemic it has affected everybody, and there's a before times and what is to come, you know. And so this was a track that was a vocal improvisation that I gave to Alex, and then he made this beautiful monster that is everything that I love and want. We don't talk about what to do with music ever, which is one of the reasons that it's just so symbiotic and beautiful, is because he hears what I want in a way that I can't articulate. And then that was certainly the case with this track, where it was like this, you know, and it was like, yeah, exactly like that.
I think it's fantastic. I didn't see any drummer credited on the album, and I was curious, who put the drums down, and you know, is that just a keyboard or something? What are you doing there?
Yeah, it's some microchip going bananas, but you nailed it.
Alex built everything in the box.
Okay.
Yeah, it was also excellent opportunity for me to learn a number of things, and I'm still in the process of, in terms of audio, what's the levels, and so I don't know, we could get in that swamp of explaining every single thing, but yes, no, we did it all in the box, right? So yeah, there is like some easy drummer plugin.
Yep.
For good measure here and there. And there is some sampled trash cans, you know, and all in that. Yeah. And we play this game that we like surprise, or we do that like here's a thing I did. Did you listen to it? No, not yet. And I really enjoy just like when I am on my own and like open it and I'm like, holy guacamole, this is great, right? And we do that a lot. And I mean, we play. I want to play with sound, right? I play the guitar and I do I do a number of things, but playing the sound, it's fascinating. Playing the sound, I can't be explained, I think.
Yeah, that's
it's kind of like multimedia collage, you know, where one person is like, I cut this picture out and I pasted it on this side, and then somebody else is like, oh, I found these sticks, I'm gonna put these sticks on there, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. So
awesome.
I think it's super creative and super adventurous. We got a question from I feel like he's got a great reputation, at least among the California guitar trio camp, Patrick Courtney. And he says, this music has such a great spontaneity to it. How do you approach performing it in a live setting?
That's an excellent question, and we don't know yet. which is also unusual for Crystal Beth records. Usually records happen as a result of something being workshopped live for a long time, like songs that have been played, hundreds of times before they get recorded. And this is the opposite of that, So when we return to performing, we are going to figure out what that looks like. Again, with the same mindset of like, what happened in the past can't be recreated. Now is the time to take the opportunity to create something new, to do something new in a way that you haven't done it before. So like I use a whole new rig now after 10 years of using the same setup, and just as an example. So we don't know how we're going to do it live, but we're going to figure it out. And that's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you do any touring and you come to the Southwest, you are performing here. There will be a show. That's not an option. And if you need a place to stay, of course you can stay with us too. So, but yeah, let's figure out if you do end up taking this music live. Let's get you to Arizona and make it happen.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I wanted to play one last track, but before we go there, I'd like for you to talk a little about what is available on Bandcamp and what you're doing with Patreon and how viewers can support your art.
Mm-hmm. All of the Crystal Beth records are available on Bandcamp through the 7D Media label, which is Trey Gunn's label. And that includes my solo work, stuff with Crystal Beth and the Boom Boom Band, of course, our duo record, Episodic Memory. There's a live record. So everything that exists for Crystal Beth so far is available on that Bandcamp page. And with Patreon, I am creating what I call oxygenations. And these are moments that are intended to bring some oxygen into your body, a moment to sit and be with yourself. And, you could call them a meditation, you could call them prayers, you could call them all kinds of different words that mean different things to different people. But to me, they are just moments for you to be with yourself and get right with yourself. And some of them are ethereal, some of them are cathartic, they range in genre. And I put out a new one each month on the first of the month that won't be released anywhere else. They are only for the patrons on Patreon. And there is a tier there where you can also commission work that's just for you as an individual. You can also approach me about doing that outside of Patreon if you can't commit monthly, which I've had some people do, where I write a piece of music just for one person. And that doesn't get released anywhere. That's just for you. It's like a sonic love note from me to you. And I create those every month, and then I send them over to Alex, or I walk them over from my studio in the backyard to his studio in our living room. And then he, like he said, opens it up for the surprise and sees if it asks something of him. So a lot of months he's also featured on the oxygenations. And then sometimes you're like, it doesn't want anything else. This is what it's going to be in and of itself. So that's what's happening on Patreon.
It's fascinating. It's the opposite of music production, or at least promotional expectation, that the world has pushed for so long. This is a song for one person, not a song for a million people. It will not be released. It is only for you. I love that. Super cool.
Exactly.
We did get a couple of questions come in about your vocal inspirations from Queen Boudica Radiant and Cameron Juroff. Where do you find inspiration for your text/vocalization? It is fascinating.
Everything boils down to being inspired by emotional states. And I feel like with Bethnic, I'm far more fluent in Bethnic than I am in the only other language I speak, which is English. Bethnic is a direct line into my emotional being from moment to moment. And I have a long history as a free improviser. That's where I really cut my teeth in as a professional musician. And so I just like to get into the flow and try to dial into the emotional state. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much into individual influences. People will say, oh, you sound like this. And then I kind of have a tendency to run the other way and then not listen to that. You know, I'm just trying to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
And be as clear with that as possible. But Cameron, for Cameron, I have to say that our dear late friend Tony Hood was a huge inspiration in that way. It was a friend growing up in Tennessee who, if you turned the microphone on, he just like spouted the most hilarious and incredible things. And I encountered him before I ever even let myself have permission to sing as a vocalist. I didn't start singing in public until 2007. It was just something I did for myself on my own. And so Cameron, our mutual friend, really opened that door for me about it's okay to just be yourself. And in fact, it's better than okay. It's what the world needs of you.
Yeah. And I love how personal you are with your music. Michael Fisher brought up a great point. He said he bought a CD from you a couple of years ago, and the package was a wonderful handcrafted mailing envelope and CD, very personalized and sweet. And I don't know if other people are aware, but I bought an album. I'm pretty sure I did, and if I didn't, Beth generously gave it to me. But it was a Ziploc bag with a thumb drive that had music and a tea bag and like a personal note or something. Beth, what?
Three different kinds of tea, and
Yes.
each one paired with a different track. That is from a project called Tea with Mr. Patton with my good friend Michelle Kazak. That was both of us all improvised vocals with electronics and found sounds, which was an homage, obviously, to Mike Patton, who we both love. I mean, talking about the influences thing. And actually for Tea with Mr. Patton, you never saw a live show, but we had a poster board of Mike Patton. And so we would take audience suggestions and give him thought bubbles. And that's what created our songs. And we served tea to the audience. There was like a tea ceremony as part of it. So the recording for that, it had to include a tea ceremony for Tea with Mr. Patton. Yeah.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows, when you support independent musicians, sometimes you're supporting something much more than just buying, an MP3 file. You can get like Julie Slick if you support her on Patreon, or I think it's it's on Bandcamp. She mails you cookies that she makes. She makes cookies and hand draws your CD covers and stuff. There's a lot of great artists on Bandcamp that are just supporting their listeners out of gratitude. So I highly...
One of the other
go ahead.
things really quick available on Bandcamp in that vein are cross-stitch sound waves, where I take screen captures of recordings and then cross-stitch the sound wave, which originally was a collaboration with my mother that I did years ago for a gallery installation where we then played the sound waves back through improvisation. But so those cross-stitch sound waves are also available on Bandcamp. Another artifact, capital A-R-T.
I'm looking on your Instagram to see if I can find one. They are wonderful. I mean, it's literally, it looks like here we go. Let's see if this works. All right. So you should be able to see, this is a cross-stitch sound wave, but it's kind of like at an angle. I don't think you can see, Beth. I apologize.
No, I can't see.
On the
but I know what
stream.
they look like.
Yeah. Anyway, check out Crystal Beth Music on Instagram. Lots of great stuff on there, and she's always posting images that can help you meditate or go somewhere. And then she has a hashtag, Art is the Discipline of Being, which has a lot of really cool stuff that she's tracked over the years. So definitely check out crystalbeth7d.bandcamp.com. It's the URL that's right here under my finger. And then over here, Crystal Beth's Patreon. So support her there, and just do everything you can to, even if it's $1 a month or something like that, just help people out and support good musicians who are exploring the unknown. So Beth and Alex, thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your wonderful work.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having us.
Yeah, of course. We are going to close with a song called As the World Churns. So let's check that out.
She